So today we're talking about Left Hand by Paul Curran. It rhymes. Dennis Cooper approved, and I was going to learn the intro to the song Left Hand by Beneath the Massacre, but I got lazy. My guitar's not really a shred guitar. So we're here now. So this is just kind of in the line of people like, Dennis Cooper, who has a blurb on the cover and everything. Um, and yeah, it's a book about sexual violence, just with a bit of a weird twist. I think it's his debut novel because it just kind of reads like one, and it's separated like most debut novels. It's kind of a short story collection separated into four stories. But the thing I appreciated a lot about it is that the stories actually connect, well, at least with a thin line over it, with the main narrator who has a stump for an arm, and it just like a lot of things. It does go over a lot of sexual graphic violence as well. People doing heroin overdoses, having sex in glass, rape and whatnot. But it also has this second person you where it puts you in the place of the character, and often when it does that, it puts you in the place of somebody with a vagina. Now I say that in that weird term because I don't necessarily think the person is trans, because it's like the main character becomes a woman. And there's elements to this novel that are just kind of a little magical realism, surrealist, I guess, or it just kind of bends the normal rules of a novel. So it's not a straightforward novel. That's why I don't necessarily see trans, because it's more like this person either becomes a woman or just becomes a man with a vagina and gets penetrated in that way. Now there is a metafictional element going to it, where the novel is referenced within itself a lot, and it talks about the writing process of the novel. It talks about like people reading the novels, editors. It talks about the novel in a courtroom. What is they trying to accomplish with this novel? And that's kind of spewed throughout as the main character almost writing the novel. So you have that Ouroboros going on within the novel right there as well. And the first and third chapter, it's kind of funny. It's done as a multiple choice exams format. As you can see, it has a bunch of answers, and it doesn't even start out one, or it does start at one, so 1.1, and it goes on from there. And I read a novel like that had a multiple choice thing, and I was like, oh, man, I don't feel like doing this right now. But luckily, fragments, you don't actually choose one of them because they each go in a linear order that tells the story. So it's not about like if you choose one, it changes the other. If you always stick with B, you have to read them in full. Now, there is a good and bad to this. The good is that kind of like Marquis de Sade, where 120 Days of Sodom is unfinished, and he just kind of goes bullet point to the end of the novel. It makes things a lot quicker, and it would have been really taxing if Sade finished that novel. But just having the bullet points helps a lot. So, and that kind of does it with this novel. That it helps a lot just to go through it so quickly, and especially for me, I needed kind of a reading break. That was just kind of nice to have. The second part, though, is that I don't know if like a multiple choice quiz was the right format for that, because even though it does reference itself in the choice quiz, and it goes like you have 5 minutes, you have 2 minutes, you have 1 minute, they're all within the same answer, which kind of goes against the formatting of the quiz. It's not the biggest deal, but I felt like a different format could have suited it a bit better in that regard. Now, there's some characterization, but it's not super hard pressed. It's a bit more than Eden, Eden, Eden. But the benefit of this novel is that it doesn't outstay its welcome. Being at 100 pages was a smart idea, because if this went on for like 150 to 200, I probably would have started getting tired of the novel, because it's almost more like centered on prose and just trying to get a certain emotion out with damn regards of like continuity of plot and whatnot. And just like the breaking of continuity of plot is important to it. And if this novel went any longer, or if it didn't have the multiple choice sections, it would have been a lot more just tiring. Like, where are we going with this? But because of that, I think it's definitely worth more of the time. But also, near the end of the novel, and this is why I'm going to be more keen on reading his stuff later on, is that he has a lot of sections with like the graphic violence, but also he actually does apply a setting to it, and he does apply a mood, and that's been the first bit of the novel. Also, he's going to all these places like drug dens to have sex and everything. But he applies that to the mood. Like there's one character talking about, I believe, smelling the ocean air after sex and everything like that because he's near the ocean. he actually has some really nice prose and emotion going on in those scenes, and I would kind of like to read that more. He has the transgressive elements down. He's able to push boundaries. He's able to show that in a way that's um, deranged, but not over the top, because he focuses on like a lot more little stuff with sex, like somebody having sex is like, what about your boyfriend? Like, which is like, he's not my boyfriend. I have another one, and so he focuses on the smaller elements of it, which is really nice, because it grounds it more in realism. But when he's able to put it to like actual more normalized prose, he does have something really going on there. So I would like to read more of like a fleshed out novel from him. This really does just kind of feel more like an experience. Like, let me just get my ideas out there on the page and let me just put it something out there and see how it resonates with people. And some of the blurbs, it got really nice blurbs. It wasn't like, oh, he's the metal writer and everything like that. So, but yeah, I would like to read more of him. This works well in the context of a debut 100-page novel, but it's also a good appetizer for me. Like, okay, I would like to dive into this author a bit more and just kind of see what he's about. I found him on Amazon by typing Peter Sotos and trying to find related searches like that. But yeah, Left Hand, Paul Curran. If you're fans of Dennis Cooper, if you're fans of like Hogg and stuff like that, this is not going to get to the same levels necessarily, but I think it's going to be worth your time. And for 100 pages, I would definitely say check it out.